So we are now in the chapter 2 of our discussion, and it deals about radicals. And in the first specific topic na i-discuss natin for the radicals, we will be focusing on the zero and the negative exponents. And that is our goal for today. Okay? About zero and negative integral exponents. And for us to do that, kailangan natin i-recall itong specific rule na kailangan nating matandaan for us to move on to the next part of our discussion. Okay? And this rule is the quotient rule. Ang sabi sa quotient rule, kapag meron ka daw x na base at naka-raise yan sa exponent na m, at dinivide mo daw sa isa pang base, which is kagaya niya, at niraise mo sa different exponent na n, then we can say that the x is being raised sa difference ng dalawang exponent ito, m minus n. Again, m and n are the integers, okay? They are different to each other, and we can say that dapat ang x natin or yung x natin dito ay not equal to 0. Okay? And yan sinasabi dun sa quotient rule na yan. Okay? For us to apply that quotient rule, okay, we have this particular example. What if I have here 7 raised to 3? Okay? And then being divided to the same base and exponent. So what will happen then kapag in-explore natin to? Okay? Sabi dito sa rule na to, alam natin na yung 7 raised to 3 ay pwede nating isulat as like this one. 7 times 7 times 7. Like, you can multiply 7 3 times sa sarili niya. Okay? So, of course, kung meron tayo sa taas, meron din naman tayo sa baba. Kung yung baba natin, which is 7 times 7 times 7, is the same as well. Okay? So, bakit ginawa yan, no? So, mamaya, i-figure out natin bakit natin ginawa yan. Also, we can also write this particular expression as this one, no? From the rule of the quotient, we have 7. We just copy the base 7, this one, and then we just subtract the two exponents. Okay, since they are the same, we expect that the exponent would be 0, right? Because 7, we just copy the 7, 3 minus 3, that is 0. And let us know, ano kaya ang equivalent ng magiging value nito? Okay, so ito muna yung una observation natin. We all know that 7 times 7 times 7 divided by 7 times 7 times 7, we can cancel this one and make it 1, of course. 7 divided by 7 is 1 as well. 7 divided by 7 is 1 as well. When you multiply them, 1 times 1 times 1 divided by 1 times 1 times 1 is equal to 1. Okay? Of course, parehas lang din yan dito sa 7 raised to 0. 7 raised to 0 is always equal to 1 then. So what have you observed? Yung isang way, ganito. Yung isang way, we use the rule. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, 7 raised to 3 divided by 7 raised to 3 is equal to 1. Okay? So, that is from this particular topic, this particular example. Ngayon, proceed tayo sa next example. What if, ibahin natin ng konti. Meron tayong 7 pa rin na base. This time, i-raise ko lang siya sa 2. Tapos, yung 7 sa baba, i-raise ko naman siya sa 5. So, there is a difference between the two, right? So, tingnan natin what will happen, no? Gawin natin yung ginawa natin kanina. Sa taas muna, expand natin tong 7 squared. We can write it as 7 times 7, okay? Also, in the denominator, we have 5, 7. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Ibig sabihin, 5 beses mo yung multiply sa 7 sa sarili niya. Okay? Sa baba naman, we use the rule of quotient. We can say that we can copy the base, dahil parehas naman ng base, okay? Copyhin natin yung base dito na 7. And then we subtract the two exponents. So we can say that 2 minus 5. Uunahin natin yung exponent sa taas bago yung nasa baba. Okay? So, if we can do that, sige, hanapin natin ang magiging difference ng dalawang exponent ito. So, we have 7. Bago yan pala, no? Dito muna tayo sa taas. Okay? We can cancel this one, right? Okay? And make it 1. This one is 1. This one will make us 1 as well. Okay? At wala na. Pero may natira pang ilang 7 yan. No? So, 1 times 1, of course, meron tayong 1 sa itaas. Okay? At 1 times 1, 1 din yan. Pero, ganito yung gagawin natin dyan. Bibilangin natin ang natirang 7. Ilan yung natirang 7 dito sa baba? 1, 2, 3. So, ibig sabihin, we can write it as 7 raised to 3. Okay? Since may tatlong 7 na natira, so we can make it as this form. Kinopya ko yung base sa 7 at binilang ko yung 7 at ginawa ko yung exponents dito sa bar. Okay? So, in other words, itong part din na to, okay? 7 raised to 2 minus 5. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Okay? So, kung negative 3 yan, para maging positive yan, kailangan natin yung ilagay sa baba. Okay? Parang ganito yung dating itsura niya, no? 7 raised to negative 3. Dahil ito ay negative, ang gagawin natin, from the rule mamaya na makikita ninyo, ilalagay natin yan sa baba. Ang tawag dyan is reciprocation at may rule tayong ginagamit dyan. Okay? So ito na nga, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung rule na gagamitin natin throughout the lesson. Okay? So may dahilan bakit naging ganito ang format nito. Okay? So ito yung rule na tinutukoy ko. So there are two rules na ituturo ko sa inyo. The first rule is the zero exponents, where in zero exponents, if there is a base x being raised to 0, lagi daw yan equal sa 1. Okay? So, ang sabi dito, dapat daw ang x ay not equal to 0. So, ibig sabihin, any number excluding 0 with an exponent of 0 is always equal to 1. Okay? So, another thing is, when you have a negative exponents, if you have this one, x raised to negative n, we can write it as 1 over x raised to n. Pansinin nyo, yung ating exponent dito na negative, okay, nung nilipat natin sa baba, naging positive. Okay? So, reciprocation or kabaliktaran ang ginagawa natin. Okay? On the other hand, if you have this one, this time yung exponent naman natin ay positive, okay, we can write it as 1 over x minus x raised to negative n. Okay? Sa baba, naging negative naman siya. Okay? Kabaliktaran yung nangyayari. So, ibig sabihin, yung x natin dito, bawal yan maging 0 din. Okay? At dapat si n ay counting number. Okay? So, now, let us apply the rules. And these rules, we could apply the following things, or we can rewrite each expression without using fraction. Ito yung una natin gagawin. So, paano natin gagawin itong expression na to without using fraction? As you can see, yung first two example natin ay naka-fraction siya. Para magawa natin yon, ganito yung gagawin mo. Okay? So, we can write here, the first example is 2 raised to 2 raised to 4 divided by 3 raised to 6. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, si 2 raised to 4 ay, of course, ang gagawin ko dito is kakopy ko lang muna siya dyan, dito sa kabilang side. Okay? At itong 3 raised to 6, ang gagawin ko dito is, iaangat ko lang siya. Okay? So, what will happen, nung pag inangat ko siya, dating positive, yung negative 6, yung 6 dito sa baba, magiging negative na siya sa itaas. So, it means, you have here, 3 raised to negative 6. And that's it. No? Again, nasa ilalim, nasa denominator, ang 3 raised to 6. So, kapag ginawa natin ilipat yan sa numerator, it will become negative 6. Hindi nanggaling sa akin yan, nanggaling yan dito sa negative exponents. Okay? So, this is gonna be the final answer. Now, in the second example, we have 10 over x raised to 5. So, what will happen here is, of course, ang gagawin ko lang dito, si 10, okay, si 10, ay kukopyahin ko lang naman dito yan sa gilid. Okay? At si x raised to 5, iaakit ko lang siya. Iaangat lang natin yan dito, katabi ni 10. Para magawa natin yon, kung ito ay positive, magiging negative na siya sa taas. So, ibig sabihin, we can write it as 10x raised to negative 5. Okay? So, yun yung unang dalawang task. Okay? Now, in the third and fourth example, we have this 7 raised to negative 2 over 3 raised to negative 4. Paano natin mag-get away itong fraction na to? Okay? For us to do that, we can copy this one as well. Kagaya ng ginagawa natin kanina. Dito lang sa gilid, 7 raised to negative 2. Take note, hindi nagbabago yung kanyang sign, no? Ito lang yung magbabago, yung nasa ilalim. So, 3 raised to negative 4, dating negative, yung kanyang exponent, pag inangat natin yan, magiging 3 raised to positive 4. And that's it. Okay? So, ganun lang gagawin natin dito. And finally, I know you can do this one, but if you want to pause this video, feel free to pause it and try to do this in your notebook. However, I'm gonna help you. Okay? In this case, there is something familiar here. Like, meron kang 10 raised to 5 dito, meron kang 10 raised to 5 dito. So, parang may rule kanina na ipinakita ito, di ba? So, balikan ko lang yung rule. Yung parang na-observe natin dito sa first example natin na parang parehas yung kanyang base at exponent. Okay? Like sa 7 raised to 3 over 7 raised to 3. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, since parehas naman yan, i-apply natin itong zero exponent rule. So, we have 4. We just copy the 4 here. Okay? And then, itong 10 raised to 5 over 10 raised to 5, we can write it as 10 raised to 5 minus 5. What will happen to 10? Kinopya ko si 10 dahil magkamukha naman sila. They are like terms. And then, isusubtract ko ngayon yung dalawang exponent. Okay, 5 minus 5. We're just applying the rule here. Okay? For us to apply the rule, I'm gonna copy the 4 here and then simplify 10 raised to 5 minus 5. I just copy the 10. 5 minus 5, that is going to be 0. Right? Ito na nga, no? This is familiar. Okay? So, now, when we have this 4, before we do that, we have to simplify 10 raised to 0. Sabi sa zero rule, no, any number being raised by 0 is always equal to 1. Okay? And when we get to multiply 4 times 1, that is going to be 4. Okay? And there you go. Hindi na siya fraction. Yan ay whole number. Okay? So, yun ang gagawin natin dito sa first example. Now, when you get the first example, we will proceed to the next example. This time, ang gagawin naman natin is simplify naman natin ito using positive exponents. And we will assume that the variables in denominators are non-zero constants. So, ibig sabihin, palaging, it can be positive or and so on. Okay, so, here we have the first example. Okay, simplify natin to x raised to negative 3 times y. At may invisible dyan ng 1, di ba? Okay, and naka-raise ito sa 2. So what will happen then here is we want to make it as first, i-apply muna natin ng mga previous knowledge natin about the rules of exponent. And if you have this one, we can write here the x. Okay? And then ang ginagawa kasi dito, students, ay i-multiply natin itong negative 3 na exponent sa labas ng exponent, which is yung 2. Okay? So ang ginawa natin, minultiply natin si negative 3 kay 2 dun sa labas. Okay, so what will happen then here is when you multiply it, then what will happen to the result? Negative 3 times 2, that is negative 6. Okay, I hope you get it. Now, when you have this one, of course, yung y natin, we just copy the y here. Okay, when you have this one being multiplied by the outside exponent, which is 2, now 1 times 2, that is equal to 2. Okay? So, yan na. Simplify na natin yung first part. Now, ang gagawin natin, tatanggalin natin tong negative exponent ito. So, for us to get rid away of this negative exponents, ang gagawin natin, we will apply the negative exponents rule. Right? So, when we do that, of course, iiwan natin lahat ng mga exponent na positive sa taas. Okay? Maglalagay lang ako dito ng fraction bar. Dahil ito ay positive, iiwan ko to sa itaas, y raised to 2. Okay? At dahil ito ay negative, pag ginawa natin yung reciprocal niyan, mapupunta yan sa baba. So, then we have x raised to positive 6. Okay? So, there you go. This is gonna be the final answer for this particular example. Again, dahil negative siya, kinuha natin yung kabaligtaran, applying the negative rule, malalagay siya sa ilalim. Okay? Kung nanggaling naman yan sa ilalim, syempre ilalagay mo yan sa ibabaw. Okay? So, now, for the second example, we have 4 raised to 3 over 4 raised to 3. It seems familiar, right? Applying the zero exponent rule, we just copy the 4, the same base. Tandaan, pag same base, kopyahin mo lang yon. Okay? And then subtract the exponents. So 3 minus 3. Okay? So we have 4. 3 minus 3, that is 0. Any number being raised by 0, that is always equal to 1. Okay? So, now, we proceed to the third and fourth example. For the third and fourth example, we have this 7 raised to negative 5 over 7 times dun sa outside na exponent negative 3. So what will happen here is, ang gagawin natin dito, of course, ang gagawin natin dyan is we will just multiply the exponents here. Okay? We copy the base here, the 7, sa numerator, and then imumultiply natin tong dalawang exponent ito. Negative 5 times negative 3, that is going to be 15. Okay? And then may 1 dito na invisible. Yung 1 exponent dito, of course, maglalagay na ako ng base ulit dito. Ito yung base na yon. 1 raised to negative 3, or 1 times 3, multiply natin yan, or 1 times negative 3, that is negative 3. Okay? Again, the first step is to simplify the exponents first. Okay? So, now, meron kang ganito, paano mangyayari na magiging positive yung mga exponents natin? Ang gagawin natin dito, first is we will just copy the positive exponent, 7 raised to 15. Dahil tandaan, lahat ng positive exponents, wala tayong babaguhin. Ang babaguhin lang natin dito ay yung mga negative exponents. Like, we have here this particular negative exponents. Allow me to emphasize this one. Iaakyat natin yan sa itaas. Okay? So, hindi lang siya, pati ito. Iaakyat natin sa itaas. Okay? So, what will happen then here, itong 7 raised to 15, magkakaroon ng katabi. Magkakaroon ng 7 raised to negative, hindi na siya negative, magiging positive 3 na siya. Okay? So, this time, we don't have fraction, we just only have positive exponents. Okay? So, did you get it? That's the example number 3. And that's the third part of the example number 2. Okay? Now, in the last part, for the example number 2, we have 10 raised to 0 plus 20 raised to 0 plus 30 raised to 0. What will happen here is any number being raised by 0 is always equal to 1. 10 raised to 0 is 1, right? Plus 20 raised to 0 is 1 as well. Plus 30 raised to 0 is 1. So when we add them, that is going to be 3. And that's how easy it is. So that is the first 4 example for the example number 2. Okay? Feel free to go back to the previous example and take note for the important process before we proceed to the next part. By the way, as we proceed for the next part, so let us now try it exercises, and feel free to pause this video and try this 4 examples. No, if you really understand the previous example, then you could be able to answer this 4 example. I know you can do it, and once you do it, write your solution in your notebook and submit it in your teacher. We will check that in our classroom. Okay, so finally, as we appreciate this particular topic, we will apply this topic in real life application, specifically in the topic of negative exponents. Okay, so as you can see, there is a biker here, and meron ditong parang graph. Okay, so as you can see, the graph increases, and that is a red graph because we will deal here in the inflation rate problem. You know what? Inflation rate? I know tinuturo ito ng teacher ninyo sa AP, but this is very important, no, na malaman ninyo. Of course, applicable sa lahat, no, hindi lang sa atin sa Philippines, sa buong mundo, na may mga presyo tayo na mura noon, na napansin natin na medyo nagmamahal na ngayon. Okay? So, ano ba yung mga nagmamahal ngayon? Now, we have this one, annual inflation rate is 5%. Okay? This means that the cost of any item increases by 5% each year. Okay? We have to take note for these things. Okay? So we want to write and evaluate an exponential expression for each of the following. There are 2 problems. Okay? The first problem, allow me to answer this one. Sabi dito, kapag ang bike daw ay nagko-cost ng 4,350 today, okay? What did it cost 5 years ago? Okay? So, paano natin malalaman yun, no? Paano natin malalaman yung kung magkano yung value niya 5 years ago? So, ibig sabihin ba dito, magta-travel ba tayo, ng, I mean, pupunta pa tayo sa time machine at magta-travel tayo backwards para malaman natin yun? Or we can do math para ma-answer natin itong particular problem na to. Okay? So, now, we will do math. Okay? But let us imagine this one. Okay? I have here this timeline. Okay? Sa ngayon, no? Sa ngayon, ang presyo yung now, ang presyo niya is 4,350, right? Yung presyo ng bike. Okay? Tapos, ang sabi dito, ano kaya yung presyo niya 5 years ago? Okay? So, ibig sabihin, magta-travel tayo 5 years, no? From now. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? I mean, magta-time travel tayo, babalik tayo ng 5 years ago. Okay, so, paano natin gagawin yun? So, this 5 years ago represents a negative numbers, right? But first, allow me to write all the given. Allow me to remove this one first. Okay, the given are as follows. Okay, so meron tayong given na, by the way, there is a formula na ginagamit dito sa annual inflation rate. Okay, tandaan nyo na lang to. This A is the annual, the accumulated amount. Okay, this P is the principal amount or the starting amount, or kung ano yung presyo niya ngayon, yung present value, times 1, that is a fixed number, plus R, the rate of increase or decrease, or the annual inflation rate, raised to time. There is an exponent which represents the time. Okay? Ito yung gagamitin natin para makapag-time travel tayo. Joke lang. So, meron tayong mga given dito. Okay? So, yung given dito, meron tayong A, of course. Ito yung hinahanap natin para mahanap natin yung presyo ng bike 5 years ago. Okay? So, pag nakuha natin yung A, ibig sabihin, alam na natin yon. Okay? Yung P, yan yung value or yung cost ng bike ngayon. Okay? So, atong cost ng bike ngayon, ang sabi is 4,350. Okay, ito yun, no? Right? Now, we have R. Yung R is the annual inflation rate. Okay, imagine niyo yung 5% increase per year is malaki na yun, no? So, 5% yung ating R or sinusulat siya as decimal form talaga. So, 0.05. Okay? Kung gusto nyo kunin yung 0.05, divide nyo lang to sa 100, then makukuha nyo to. And then the time is 5 years. Okay, 5 years ago. Para ma-represent natin 5 years ago, we will be using negative 5. Bakit negative 5? Because 5 years ago, babalik ka sa nakaraan. So, kaya negative 5 ang gagamitin natin as part of our time. And here is the solution. Okay? Of course, area, hindi siya area. A is the total cost 5 years ago. P, which is yung presyo ngayon ng bike, times 1, plus 0.05, which is yung R. Okay? And then finally, the time. Okay? The time is negative 5. Sabi sa inyo, negative exponent. So, ang ating exponent is negative dahil babalik tayo sa nakaraan. Okay? For us to find that, we will simplify first the things na nasa loob ng parentheses. 1 plus 0.05, 1.05 raised to negative 5. Okay? From the rules of PEMDAS, kailangan nyo munang isimplify itong 1.05 sa negative 5. Or kung may calculator ka, pwede mo nang diretsuhin yun. Pero, for the sake of presentation, 1.05 raised to negative 5, that is going to be 0.7835. I think, continuous pa to, no? Pero, kapag nakuha mo yung solution dyan, for example, 1.05 raised to negative 5, allow me to share my calculator para makita mo rin. Okay? So, scientific. Okay, so where is my calculator? Ayan. Gusto ko makita mo yung calculator yung gagamitin ko. Okay? Para pares tayo ng solution. Okay? So, first, we have 1.05. I-erase natin yan sa negative 5. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ko, 0.7835. Or, kapag pinag-multiply natin yan sa 4350, makukuha natin yung mismong sagot na 3408.338. At kung may calculator ka naman ganito, pwede mo i-diretso. 4350 times 1.05, okay, raised to negative 5. Okay, ito na yung value which is 3 point, let me write here, 3 point, hindi siya 3 point, no? 3,408.34. Okay, so this is gonna be the value of the bike 5 years ago. So imagine mo, 5 years ago, ang halaga ng bike ay 3,408.34. Take note, 5 years ago yan. Hindi tayo nag-time travel, pero gumamit tayo ng concept ng negative exponents using this particular formula. Bakit negative exponents? Dahil nag-travel tayo 5 years ago. Okay? So, mas mura ba ang presyo ng bike noon? Opo. Bakit nagmahal ngayon? Dahil yon sa inflation rate na 5%. Okay? Bakit may inflation rate? Tanungin mo yung AP teacher mo. So, now, for you to be able to understand better, I want you to practice this one. This time, hindi naman siya, hindi siya air condition, hindi ko alam ba't hindi napapagod tong nagbabike, pero air conditioner daw to. Yung air conditioner ay, ang presyo niya is 8,250 ngayong araw, for example. And you are tasked to time travel, bumalik kayo sa 2 years ago, what did it cost? Okay? So, alamin nyo, no? Using this particular method. And if you were able to do that, then congratulations. That is the last part of our discussion. And finally, this is the final thought of my discussion. And if you have question, just ask me in our classroom, and just feel free to post any comment here, any suggestion, any insights about this particular topic. And for my students, we will be having activity in our classroom. So see you in our classroom.